Hi, this is Kelly and Aliya from Women Who Lead and Sell. Today we've got a phenomenal episode for you. We're speaking to Helen Corsi-Cadmore, who brought Flying Tiger to the UK. Amongst other things, she talks to us about surrounding yourself with people who are really going to support you in your success, and also doing business your way and how important that is. Aliya.
Yeah, if you're a female founder and you're on a journey to scale or grow your business, this is the place you need to be. We will be talking to people who are experts in that field or who have grown a business and scaled it to over 7 figures, because our mission is to help 1,000 women over the next 3 years scale or grow their business to 7 figures, because money talks.
Hi, Helen. I've got a question for you. Is business in your blood?
Oh my goodness, what a fantastic question. Yes. So my background, when I was probably about maybe 7 or 8, my dad used to get me up at 5 o'clock on a Saturday morning and get me in his van. This sounds a bit dodgy actually, but put me in his van and take me down the greengrocers, the wholesale market. So my parents had greengrocers and my mum was a florist. And I remember being sat in the van with my dad. He'd get out and I'd be watching just like what was going on, all the noise, all the chatter, all the coffee, the tea, and just kind of taking it all in. And he'd just like keep feeding me really bad actually, cartons of Ribena.
Yeah.
He'd just keep feeding me them. Sit in the van, put some music on. And I just remember watching him thinking, this is way too early for a start. I was really young, but also this is incredible. Like just the conversations and building that, like the relationships between the suppliers. So I guess when you say it's in my blood, yeah, it is, because it's come from such a young age. And then watching the development of my parents' greengrocers go up and down, and then, with the florist as well. So yeah, from a really young age, I'd say, yeah, it's definitely in my blood.
I love it. I'm going to tell you where that question came from. So Aliya and I, right, we get to like swat up on our guests. And of course, then we both go like, look at this. Have you seen that? What do you think? And we saw the post, well, we saw loads of your posts, but the one where you talked about being in the van. And then we kind of sat back and went, what is going on here? Like proper, what is going, like, what do we feel? And what we both got was like she is not giving up. Like there is a whole terrain here. Like, I got proper goosebumps all over me. Like we would just sat back, weren't we? Just going, like Aliya will share a little bit about what she was thinking. And we were like, this is, I've never considered myself an entrepreneur. Like I have run 7-figure businesses. I've co-created them with my clients. And I really love that 7-figure milestone. Like it's proper sexy. And it feels like, okay, I've earned my stripes, right? But I never considered myself an entrepreneur because I just didn't. I think I associate that with like mega 8-figure people. Might be a Welsh thing, I don't know. But when I meet certain women, there's something like, it's like an indomitable spirit. Like it's almost like, so it's like bigger than them. It's the spirit of what's coming through. And that's what I was getting. And the question came like, I was like, is business like in her blood? Like it's even bigger than, your early roots. So that's where the question came from. And thank you. I'm gonna kind of dive in as well with another question, which was, what did you enjoy about your scaling journey with Tiger?
What did I enjoy? Okay, great question again there. The excitement that it brought to me. So every time we hit a certain milestone or we opened a new store, took on more staff, built the business, then it reminded me that how amazing things can come from such small beginnings. And it's interesting what you were saying then about was like a business in my blood. Yes, it was in that sense from a market stall. Like my parents were not were not rich. They earned what they needed to earn. They did their jobs. But I think for me, every time that I hit a certain milestone that we'd created, I got so much joy from it. And I think internally, that's what's really important to me. Like, what do I feel? And don't get me wrong, it was really hard. Like, I'm sure we're going to get into that. It wasn't particularly easy. But I think for me, the ultimate, what I got from the scaling side of it was the fulfillment and joy that each milestone was actually hit, and it was a bit of a tick.
Yeah.
And it was looking back, actually reflecting, it was an ego. It was an ego thing. It was like, yeah, we hit that milestone, excellent. But I also got a lot of joy from it as well. So yeah,
it's kind of like a rite of passage. Like a lot of our, I don't work with startups any longer. Like I had that time where I loved it and I was across all, but there is a particular mindset that you have to pass through, a rite of passage, to go from loads of ideas, startup, thinking you're going to do stuff, but then really not really managing to overcome those first hurdles, like actually selling versus having this great idea and, putting it all out there. So our sweet spot is that like 300,000, not like just that, but it's that minimal viable product stage where they've already sold, they've already got some clients, they're already kind of like feeling it. And then they need different thinking to get them to the next level. And I just think that journey, you do have to have that very, it's very cerebral, isn't it? You're like, okay, tick, tick, tick. It's very psychological and you have to take yourself on in that way. And I think, I definitely have conversations around that being like ego or the driving force. And then you get to a point where other things matter. I'm really interested to know, because I don't know the ins and outs, and I know that you exited, but I would love to know if there was a point for you when you'd had all those wins and goals hit that you were like, something's missing, or there's like a fulfillment or an incongruency. Like, I'm really interested.
Well, before we get to that, can we put some context here? Because I think we're jumping over something.
Okay, cool.
For people that don't know you, Helen, right? So what you did was you spotted you spotted a retail opportunity, which is Flying Tiger. And for those people that don't know Flying Tiger, it's like a high street staple now. I know that if I go somewhere, I see a Flying Tiger, I go, ooh, let's just pop in and see what they've got. They're like the IKEA of ornaments and stationery, like cool stuff. And I think they're Danish, is that right?
Danish, yeah. Danish founded.
Yeah. Am I right in saying you brought them to the UK originally? Did you bring them?
Yeah, so the setup there was I say we because I had a business partner at the time, my business partner, Kate. We brought the joint venture partner over to Wales and Bristol. So we scaled the south region there. So yeah, it was originally founded in Denmark by a wonderful couple that actually weirdly, and this is why I got so involved with the business as well, because they actually started on a market stall. So there was the link there between my sort of background and Tiger, as it was then. It wasn't Flying Tiger, it was rebranded much later on. So yeah, we were the joint venture partners. So, and if people don't know what a JV is, possibly they do, but if they don't, it's basically when you own 50% of the business and another partner owns 50% of the business. And we had full operational rights to the territory we had.
How did you find them? Did you go to Denmark or something and spot this amazing shop and go, we need this in Wales? How did it happen?
Well, pretty much, no. So I was working in property at the time, and my then business partner, Kate, had been made redundant. She was in marketing, and she'd actually visited Barcelona, of all places. She was there on holiday, and she came back, and she knew that I was looking for something else. I was looking for more. And actually, I actually wanted to get into coffee. I wanted to get into coffee shops. That was my thing. I wanted to have a big coffee chain and expand his coffee. And I got gazumped on 3 different units. And I just thought, you know what, Hal, something's saying to you here. This isn't for you. This is not your path. You're going down. No. I give up the coffee. Weirdly enough, I did give up coffee.
It's going to be cacti and fluffy pillows.
Yeah. Well, that's pretty much it. So it was a funny story. She came back and went, Hal, I think I've seen this concept. It's a bit random. They sell like sock monkeys and like fake poo and really nice pens. I was like, what are you talking about?
I love it.
Just a caveat, really nice pens. I was like, oh my goodness.
Good sales pitch.
She went, yeah, let's have a look at it a bit more. Anyway, they were looking for partners for the UK, and that all kind of happens in the conversations happens in April. Fast forward a couple of months, we went over to Denmark, had further conversations in the August, and then we opened our first store the 1st of December in Cardiff city centre. So we actually knocked 2 stores together.
I'm interested in knowing
the journey went on.
What were the conversations you had when you went to Denmark? Because you didn't have. Did you have retail experience?
No, I had lots of customer service experience. Obviously, market stalls and being in the property, dealing with people all the time. But not. I said actually that's a little bit of a fib there. I did have retail experience. I've forgotten a huge chunk of my life. I worked in London for a while. With a brand called Faith Shoes or Faith Footwear, which is no longer here anymore. So I worked with those for a while. So I did have a little bit of retail experience, but not sort of on my own. That was working with a brand, with a company. So yeah, the conversations in Denmark were, how can I say this politely, interesting. The Danes are, if you've never met any Danes, they're amazing, absolutely amazing. They're very to the point.
Oh, and yes, that's right. Yeah, they are.
I've never worked with them. So
yeah. My mum's friend's husband was Danish. Yeah. It was to the point of almost being rude. They're a little bit like the Dutch. Yeah. They keep it real. I like people like that. Straight to the point, very efficient. But you don't have to be polite here, by the way. Do tell. What was it like? What was the experience like?
Well, I remember being sat in their room, thinking to myself, what the hell is going on here? They're having conversations around us, between us, to themselves, arguing. Basically, what they were saying was, yes, we want you. They were trying to work out where and what capacity and when he was going to start. And I remember just coming away going, what just happened? Like, really, what just happened? The conversations were that, yes, we were going to be partners and it was going to happen fairly quickly, which was great. But I remember being in the room thinking, these guys are a little bit nuts. They're a little bit nuts. Do I really want to be involved with this company? Mm-hmm. Yeah, I absolutely do. So yeah, they were some of the conversations we had.
Mm. Yeah. So I think what happens often, isn't it? And we found this when we were setting up our business, is you have a great idea, you spot something, and you go, "That's amazing."
Yeah.
And then the rubber hits the road.
Yeah.
Because then you kind of get very quickly into a financial conversation.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
The next thing is funding. We need funding. Yeah. Right. What happened
funding.
With that?
Oh, God. Did you see that my energy changed? And I was like, the sigh of, funding. Because we were unknown startups at that stage, in Wales, in Cardiff, a fairly small part of the world. And we were 2 women. And that's quite poignant because 2 women in business with no real history trying to get a huge amount of funding at the time. We had to get 150k worth of funding. And, we didn't have that kind of money just in our back pockets. Like I said, I came from quite a normal kind of background, a very normal background. And my parents just didn't have that kind of money to lend it to us, to put into the business. So we had to go out and get it. And I cannot tell you how many people said no and literally shut the door in our face. It was so demoralizing. But me being a Welsh Italian, I was like, well, that is not going to stop me. So we pushed and we pushed and we pushed. And I remember we kind of were at the last point of, right, this person has to help us or this isn't going to happen. And a funny story here, and I talk about relationships quite a lot and how I feel they're so important. Remember when I said I worked in property? I let a property to the gentleman then became my bank manager. So Kate had actually sat at the meeting, and I didn't, in all honesty, take much notice of the person's name. I was just like, right, we're going to go in, this is our last chance, we're going to get this money. And I remember going there and I was like, Anthony, how are you? I haven't seen you for about 7 years. It was quite a long time. And he's like, oh, I'm really well. Yeah, he said, I saw your name, but didn't want to say, didn't want to message you and say we're going to be meeting. And he said, I wanted to turn up and listen to you. Anyway, to cut a really long story short, he was so supportive. And like I said, he came and went on to be our bank manager for the duration. But it was partly because he knew me from before. He knew the service I'd given him. He knew we'd had a great relationship from a property point of view. And he did everything, give him credit, everything in his power to enable us to get that funding that we needed to get it across the line. There was, but we weren't aware of it, especially in Wales. There wasn't the opportunities like there are now for funding. That it just wasn't a thing here. And I think knowing what I know now and who I work with now, there's more opportunities, I believe, for startups to obtain money to start and grow, pivot a business. It was really hard though. It was really hard. But like I said, we got there and we did it, and we had some fantastic support. And interestingly, a lot of the people that, like I said, closed that door and said no, 2-3 years into that business, knocking on our door, would you like any funding? Would you like any finance? Do you want to, reinvest? Do you want to do all this stuff? And it was, for me, it was a bittersweet. It was like, actually, no, I don't. I'm not interested. If you're not willing to put a risk, and I get the whole due diligence thing, you have to tick boxes, but I think sometimes it comes down to believing and having a good relationship with somebody, and you'll know if they're going to be, I think anyway, good in business. And for me, a lot of things that I have come across and now build businesses on is having that gut feeling. And I think for me that's really important. So yeah, we did get there.
That's amazing. I mean, before we move on, I do want to say something about funding, actually, because I know you do some work in that with local organisations. And when we first set up our consulting business and this podcast even, we tussled over whether, because we're strategic business consultants, we love talking business. And we said, well, the audience should be men and women maybe, and I kept saying, no, it's got to be women. But I felt I had to justify it. And I justified it with a very simple stat. Over a third of businesses in the UK are set up by women, and we get 2% of the funding.
I know.
We have to self-fund what we do. And so is it any surprise that we just don't build up as quickly or such large empires as our male business peers do? And I'm really committed to finding out why is that, and also taking responsibility as a woman. Because I remember saying to someone very early on, tell me about funding for women. And he said 2 things I'm going to tell you, the difference between men and women when it comes to funding. One is the women get the expenses nailed down. They know what their expenses are. They're absolutely right on their due diligence. The other thing is they don't ask for enough money. Yeah. And I think a lot of our listeners also don't really know how to pitch. They don't know how to talk bank. And you've got to play the game. You have to talk the language. You have to pitch what the bank wants to know, all the lender wants to know, all the funder wants to know. And I'd like to see a lot more education around that for female founders in a way that they get it. It's all about presentation and relationship. And you can create relationships very quickly, like you said, and some of it is almost created on paper or in a Zoom call, and it can be done very quickly. And I'd love to see some more programs around that, because it's certainly needed. I mean, if you go for VC capital, it's even less than 2%. It's actually less than 1%. It's 0.08 or something ridiculous. So, I'm very keen to see where we can move the needle on that. Both from our point of view as female founders, what can we become knowledgeable about, but also getting the message out there that you're missing an opportunity, guys. And McKinsey's have just produced a report on this, actually, that there's a whole world out there, lenders and funders or female entrepreneurs who can clearly do it. How can we support them? If you said something about knowing the things I know now, what would you say now to somebody who's scaling up? What would be a couple of points you'd go, nail this, do that? What would that be? What comes to mind?
The first thing I would say is surround yourself with the right people. I think it's really, really important to have the right network at different levels of your business as well. You're going to be, working with, taking advice, listening to people, different people from startup to the next level, And I think that's something that personally I didn't do when I was in Tiger. I didn't find the right support network, advisory network at that level. So I would say be in spaces and around people that know their stuff, you trust, and they understand where you're at.
Yeah.
And can I just go back to something you said, Aliya, earlier about the 2% of funding, and we have to, I think something about we have to understand or talk the bank. I find that really sad that we have to talk the way that is expected, right? Rather than being, genuine in ourselves. And I think this comes down to as well a lot of, or a lack of confidence still that I see in women all the time, and understanding what I call the jargon talk, the bank talk that people just don't relate. A lot of people don't relate to and don't want to relate to. I find it quite sad that we've got to change ourselves to get to being in that percentage. And that's, I praise you both for trying to understand and change that narrative, because it's really tough. It's really tough. And it shouldn't be tough. It makes no difference if we're men, women, those who identify, whatever. There should be an equality there.
Yeah,
you see, I'm going to get really annoyed.
No, we just sort of VC fund. That's what we'll do, Helen. I think the Scale Up Institute's doing a lot of work in that regard with the British Bank. I was thinking more in terms of everyone's got their job to do, right? So the funder has got a job to do. They have to deliver value. I think sometimes female founders don't know how to present their value in a way that it lands over there with the funder and they get it.
Yeah, you're right.
Because of that lack of confidence. And what can we do to educate female founders in? Firstly, if I see a female founder, I immediately go to, you've had to do 110% to get to where you are compared to your male peer, right? That's just how it is. Yeah. Already you have my respect, and yet you feel you're at 90. How do we get them to see they're at 110 and present themselves in alignment with that in a way that a funder really gets it? And this is where really brilliant strategy consultants and marketing consultants and coaches like yourself, this is for us to do and to demonstrate and to show, look, here's how you do it. Here's how you show how great you are. Here's how you show, but it's over to you to show that you have the responsibility to show that person the opportunity that you are. And, I just want to move the needle on that as well, because it's all in the communication, isn't it?
It is completely right. And I think just want to sort of highlight is something that we're, a friend of mine now, she was going to say a business partner, she's a friend as well, that we've started something called She Thrives. And I think it's something that we couldn't find. And there's an education piece around it, you know, being in that space. Yeah, we learn from others, so there's inspiration. But actually, it's about learning and how you can grow as a person as well. And like I said, being in that collaborative space, finding the right community connections to give people that education as well. And you mentioned British Business Bank. I think they are doing a fantastic job in regards to startups. And it's that, I do feel like it's that next level that's missing. Or I say missing, there could be more.
Yeah, I agree with you. Which, of course, is are our listeners.
I know.
You know, like what's amazing out there for them? What's going on for them? What's the thing? I mean, I think Ernst & Young are doing a great job with their program, Female Entrepreneurs, but we need more of those because, like you just said, surrounding yourself with the right network, and that's what She Thrives is, isn't it? It's a network, is as important as the money, isn't it? It's like feeling safe that you're in the right place and therefore getting the right feedback and the right sounding boards from people. But also that mentoring and learning and training that's specific to, you're not a startup anymore. You've got your MVP. Yeah. Now what? And I think a lot of women are at that stage. They're like, they know they want to get to point Z, but what are the steps between here and there? And where do I go for the right expertise, for the right thing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'd love to like throw my thoughts in on what you were both saying. I was thinking about it from, you know, I grew up cleaning offices with my mum from about 10. So I had the exact same experiences as you, loved it. And I think then growing through, like not knowing if I had a real business, moving away, developing a business, a service-based business, all of that. Like I've done every phase. And then I want to land on what you said about like, should we actually have to like learn that jargon? And it is a whole new world. Like for me, I couldn't learn it. I didn't understand it. I was, the word I used to feel like collapsed in my body. I couldn't have presence. I couldn't have confidence. I'd be in a room with a group of women and I'd be like storming around with it. Look at this, excited. I'd go over there and I couldn't put the value together in a way that was understood. So like, I have different views on that. I'm like, we can either, well, I have different views on it, which is we can go into another time, but it's, that is the world right now. And what I'm really aware of is, and I haven't been to She Thrives yet, but it's like top of my list to come to, especially because of the vibrancy, the love, the collaborative nature. And I think early doors, the level of nurture, supportive encouragement, teasing out, eliciting what a woman needs, like that is very needed before they can really be robust and strong to deal with the tough path ahead. Because as soon as it starts getting into investment and money and, you know, like it becomes a completely different world. Now, if they haven't had the foundational building blocks, like they're never going to survive later on. So I think that I'm okay with the VCs and all that being pretty hard hitting, as long as we've had a good 5-7 year run up on the emotional building blocks, because otherwise you could skip and get to there and have those conversations or have that built around you, but you crumble anyway, you know, on the inside. And this goes back to kind of what I think we need in schools and, you know, you know, way back, because then it's not a male female thing. And I know we're not dividing it like that, but it's like, we all need the foundational pieces earlier so that we can stand up, speak up, be assertive, like believe in our innovative ideas, not follow the one golden path of education. But like such good points. Aliya, anything back over with you?
Love that.
I mean, you went on quite a journey with Flying Tiger, didn't you? And I feel like it came to quite an abrupt end, didn't it, almost?
Shall I go into that a little bit?
Well, I think it's interesting because we did touch on this, didn't we, a little bit? Like, how are we when we have to abandon or move on or have a complete breakdown in a business where women go for that, especially if it's something about family? Because one of the things I always think with women is when you go all in, which you have to when you're scaling something of what you did, something somewhere has to give. Yeah. And it sounded like something did with you. Tell us, a bit about that. How was that?
I've got goosebumps now. Yeah, so it was always, just to touch on the sort of abrupt ending, it was always a 5-year kind of business plan, in all honesty. And the 5 years were coming to an end, and we were asked to sell our shares, and it was the timing, in all honesty, was a little bit late. We probably should have exited, I'd say, about 2 years earlier. I can't go into the details of it, but our area and our territory was restricted. And I can't go into it too much more, but I wish I could. But I think, so it came to an end because it was the right thing to do, and the timing was right. And I think now, if we look at the timing when we did exit, and it was January 2019, a year before, the world completely changed.
Good timing.
Completely good timing from my point of view. I couldn't think of anything worse than having that business in COVID, other stuff going on. But yeah, I think when you said something had to give, or something did give, I was trying to start a family at that time as well, and building a business and trying to start a family that wasn't coming naturally to myself and my husband put even more pressure on succeeding. And I think earlier I mentioned about the ticking those milestones and having that bit of ego. I think it's because personally things weren't working out for me as well in my family life, in my hoping to expand my family, that I really, really wanted to hit those milestones because it would make me feel good. And I was in that kind of control side of the business was going okay, it was growing great, but actually I wasn't hitting things in my personal life. And, I'm not going to go into it too much here because it's not the right space, but it is important to highlight that. Would I change things now? Possibly. I don't really like to look back and kind of think, hindsight. I think whatever happened then happened, and you move on from it. But I nearly died twice while having that business, while trying to start a family, and that extra pressure that I had sort of externally from the business did have an impact. I had to physically take some time out of the business, which I hated. I absolutely hated. And I remember Kate, saying to me, Hal, you cannot come back. You need to rest. And I was like, I don't. I'm absolutely fine. I'll be fine. And actually I wasn't fine. And I needed that time away to really get my mind back to where it needed to be, I guess. So yeah, some things have to give, and I think you have to remember that your business is important. Hitting those milestones, scaling, whatever that looks like for you, because it's going to look different for everyone else. You have to remember you, and I think I got a little bit lost, and I'm going to get a bit emotional here. You can get a little bit lost, I think, in your journey. And that's why I said having the right support around you, having the right network is really important for different levels. And I didn't have that. And that's something that I wish I did have. Things might have been a bit different, but I would say a little bit of advice wherever you are in your journey, and especially if you're scaling, is remember who you are and remember what is important. The business can wait. Look after yourself. And I strongly believe that everything starts with you. And I know you touched on it, Kelly, as well, about if you're not feeling 100%, or you're not having that confidence, or the things you need at the beginning stages, get them, because they will put you in good stead for the growth element that you're going to have if you are scaling and growing. So,
well, thank you for sharing that, honestly, because I think that will have shifted something for some people. For some people who are like, it's profit and growth at all cost, because that's what I have to do, to be given permission to say, no, actually, at some point, be kind to yourself. I think you said somewhere, be kind to yourself. Somebody said to you, you need to be kind to yourself.
Be kind to yourself.
And pause and have those people around you that are fully aligned with that, like your partner saying, nope, why are you here? Off you go. Is so important. So it's really important for us to highlight that. This is a business, this is a program about scaling. But it's also the people that are scaling have families, have obligations. And I think if you don't have strong foundations, you just scale the bad bits too. You've got to be so careful of that. You've got to make sure you've addressed and recognized the bits that aren't working. Or you're just going to scale
100%.
them.
But it was also amazing, Helen, how you came around to like everything starts with you, and it really does. And I don't think that we hear that enough, like really hear it. You know, it's certainly for me, like 47, like 20 odd years in other people's businesses and my own. And it's kind of like, it comes at you, doesn't it? It's like, it just, you know, it's kind of hard getting it all going. And then it's just like going. So you're like, break even and turnover. And then all of a sudden, like you are listening to the accountants and the management consultants and you're growing and you do want it. And of course you do. And you love like the mentoring of the teams and all of that stuff. But there is not enough interruptions and reminders. Like we definitely have to get really good at being okay. Like Kate said to you, like, babe, you're not okay. No. And having those trusted, really trusted relationships will have your back and go, no, like we are actually choosing that we value you and how you are more than like this next, maybe a couple of $100,000. Like, let's be honest, you know, like every pitch and it's all exciting. It's like the magazines and the well-being and the self-care. It's still separate from the thrust of this amazing, exciting journey. And I think we are literally, we're pioneers as women. Like we're like, look at the time we're living, like look what's going on in the world. There's so much that we can do. But actually, and thankfully I learned this after having our son, who's 13 now. I learned it really quick. I had to make a decision. And it was like, it's really simple. Like, what's your priority? And that like, it was like a smack to my body. Like, what's your priority? And like, I'm like, literally, I cannot choose then to be like a juggernaut running around with this business when I have the actual priority here or the actual priority here.
The priority here.
Yeah, like it's so interesting, isn't it? Like it's not you really, really have to be shown and practice bringing that into the holistic nature of like, it's okay. And I know that deal's over there and like it's competition and all the things, the pace is thrown at us all the time. But like, okay, well, but I'm choosing, because that be kind to yourself thing and that remembering that it's you is actually where our power is. And we actually do get to reset the whole field when we go, no, the actual power is here. I get to stop and I set the pace for my whole organization. And I think that definitely is like, that's definitely the conversation we're in. Like, okay, it's busy. And then we can like, okay, pause.
Bring it back.
Like, really pause. Yeah.
Taking that time out as well.
Yeah.
So then you did pause and calibrate. Tell us what happened then.
What happened then? Things changed. Things shifted in me, and when the exit actually finally happened, everything was sorted from a legal perspective. Everything just kind of felt a bit empty. I felt what is next? Where am I going? What am I doing? I kind of hit a bit of a trauma. So I was in a trauma stage, and now I can look back and reflect, and I can see I was massively in trauma. I'd lost something that I loved. I'd lost something that I grew. I'd lost something that brought me a lot of joy. But I felt a bit lost. And when I kind of paused, it took me quite a while to realize that actually I'd spent so much time in this space and not actually looking at what was around. And I think for me, that was a huge shift. Fast forward then a few months, and I connected with somebody that quite literally changed my life. sounds a bit odd and sounds a bit dramatic when I say that.
Not at all.
But it was that meeting that I knew that I needed this person. Well, I say needed, I wanted this person in my life, and they supported me in a completely different way. So taking away the business side of things, they supported me in a more holistic and well-being perspective that I didn't have in the business. And that person I will be always extremely grateful for. Beautiful soul. And it put me on a different journey, different path, and different a business sort of strategy that I was like, right, okay, I actually don't want to be in that space anymore. I don't want to be in that go, where is the next milestone? And always thinking about it from a money perspective. I think that was, I was very, very, very driven by money. I still love money, but I look at it in a completely different way. Now I use money as a tool to get me where I want to go, and, use it from a different freedom perspective.
Yeah.
And I started to get into the more holistic side of things, well-being and looking after myself. So didn't realize everything starts with me. And went on a completely different journey. And so I was fortunate, so I won't go into my fertility journey, but I was fortunate then to have twins. So I've got twins. They were born a week before the pandemic. So that was complete hell. It was just crazy times. But I remember my husband saying to me, I've booked you to go on a weekend away. And I was thinking, yes, a whole weekend away from the twins. Brilliant. We were allowed to go and do little things. It was that time in the pandemic. We were allowed to go and do little bits. And he said, you're not going on a spa weekend, Hal. And I was like, right, okay. He said, I've booked you on to go and do some NLP training. And I was like, what is this now? I was like, what is this NLP? Anyway, it's basically instruction manual for your mind. It's incredible the things you can do with it. Anyway, went on this weekend and it blew my mind, absolutely blew my mind, that what I'd been missing out on and what could have been different if I was in a better space, growing Tiger to where I wanted to be and where I am now.
Yeah.
And I took all that I learned and I really got into it, and I ended up doing a master's in it. I did loads and loads of study around it, and then built out my business now based on me rather than based on a product or obviously the brand is me, but I built it on me and what I wanted. Yeah. And it's completely changed the way now that I do business.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's incredible. So that pause, that trauma, not so much to do with the fertility side, but the trauma that I felt that I'd lost my business and like, where was I going?
Yeah.
Was actually the best thing that happened to me. Literally the best thing that happened.
Tell us more about what you mean by you built it on you. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, so now I do everything that I want, like I fully want to do. So even if there's lots of, you should be going to this next level, you should be doing this, there's lots of things out there that, society, the norm, our childhood, our, trajectories where we are in certain times have kind of told me to do this, but actually, no, I want to do it my way now. And actually, I set my days, my weeks now built on, right, I don't generally try not to start any sort of client calls before 10, because I actually want to drop my kids to school. I want to go and walk the dog. I want to have a downtime. I want to have a nice cup of coffee before I do anything. This is the life that I build. So I only work 3 days. And, I choose that. I could say I'm fortunate. Well, actually, it doesn't matter. The money element doesn't matter. If you choose to work only 3 days and you can pay your bills, you can do what you need, and you can enjoy every single day in your business, there's always going to be ups and downs. I'm saying this like it's a beautiful rose, picture. There's always going to be stuff, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
But I think, when I mean that I do it for me, because I said it all starts with me. And if I'm feeling good, it's got a ripple effect on my clients, strategies, the outputs that I'm putting out there. And I think that's where a lot of people can get misled or misguided that you should be doing it this way because society advises us to. Well, actually, if you look at yourself, you'll fly.
So, and what's the philosophy in the new business? Like, what do you? You can't just do what you've done with Flying Tiger and then that's all gone forgotten. There must be some stuff that you bring from that, or you go, oh yeah, I know that.
I just want to like.
I know that. Yeah. Don't go there.
Business is in her blood
going on with your coaching.
and we're waiting for what else?
Yeah. No, obviously there's a lot of lessons learned and a lot of yes, no's, conversations, people that I will take from Tiger into what as I have now, and I actually sold Tiger 6 years ago. So it was a long time ago now. Things have changed. The world's changed as well. That was a bricks and mortar business. It wasn't online when I had it, so that is completely shifted as well. So what have I taken from that is the biggest shift, in all honesty, the biggest thing I've taken is to follow your path and follow the way that you want to do things. And I know I've mentioned it quite a few times now, but I think it's very easy to fall into the society norms of the way you should be doing things, but do it the way you want to. And if it doesn't work or if you fail, that's okay. Just fail fast, move on, learn, next step.
Yeah.
So,
Interesting. Yeah, because I think we've talked about, haven't we? What does more mean?
Yeah.
Like we all say, I want more something, but when you actually dig into it with
it's
female clients, well, hang on, what does it mean to you? Does it mean more quality, or does it mean more money? Might mean more money, but actually it might not. It might be, actually, I'm happy with the income I've got, but I don't like what I have to do to get that income, or I don't like working with these clients. But if I could change that client and go for these ones instead and hit that same revenue, that's a more for me.
Yeah.
And that plays into what you're saying, which is this just the growth at all costs kind of approach to business doesn't fit everyone.
And something I have found fascinating is like, so if you were to like look at my CV, it's sales leadership, self-leadership and sales leadership, mostly for female founders or like high level senior salespeople. It's so interesting when we have a founder who, well, they'll always like that. It's a great lead gen, a lead magnet, sales, like problem with your sales, want to grow. Yeah. But as soon as you have discovery calls, it's never that they want. It's like within 7 minutes, it's never that. It's more understanding, more trust, more connection, more clarity, all those things. But that conditioning piece, and I don't think we could just keep talking about it. Like that conditioning piece is so strong to just keep going when there's like a depth and a world that is available. When we dare to go a bit deeper. Yeah,
definitely. And it is, and there's something I always say, that the presenting problem is rarely the problem.
Yeah.
So when somebody comes to you and says, I need more sales, okay, like you said, we can look at that, but actually what's underneath that? Do you need that clarity? Do we need to go really candid? Let's go really raw. What is stopping you, or what is needed to get you to that next level?
Yeah.
And it's generally never, you'll both of us, it's generally never what they come to you with. Yeah.
I've got, you got another question?
No, go ahead.
Okay,
I've taken all the bandwidth here, so I'm being a bit greedy with the questions.
No. So I am going to go back where you segued off or whatever. So I am interested to know. So I really care about congruency and alignment for women, and I think that as I've grown and I keep evolving, that is a quarterly thing that I look at. It's when I have my masterminds, it's am I on track with my values? And like what's off, like what feels like the energy is just dying from it, and maybe I don't want to see it, whether that's business or my life, whatever. So there was something you said when we did our prep call, and I don't know if I've got this right, and it might be that I put my story into yours and went, I want to know more about that, right? So just let me unpack this a bit. You were like, we're celebrating, this great story, this accomplishment, which is amazing, and then you said something about but it was like, I don't know if you said filling the world with plastic. I don't know if you said that or you were putting plastic in the world. I don't know if I thought I heard that, right? But my story when I finished my business in Australia was a big component of that was consulting and creative consulting for big brands. And it was also merchandise. And I remember that being a massive, I wasn't eco anything, and I'm certainly not an eco warrior now. But when I exited that business, it was 2013. And it was a massive wake up call for me. I kind of all of a sudden became a B Corp business. I was like, what have I been doing? I have literally been basically filling the world with shit. Like it was massive. So did I make up that you said something like that?
You did make it up. You did make it up. I would never have said that. I would possibly have said, I think it was basically Tiger is all the things you don't need, but then buy. Yes. So it's all the stuff you don't need and then buy. And yeah, it's interesting because when I first joined, or when I first started Tiger, it was very much the ethos around it is not about what you're buying, it's what you're going to do with it.
Okay.
So it's about experiences. So say, for example, I haven't got anything, really, I've got nothing Tiger on my desk. I'm like,
I was going to buy something, but then I didn't want to buy something unnecessarily.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I was there.
But it's about, but it's about saying, okay, so you go in and you buy a pen. We never just sell like a standard pen. You would buy a pen that's got, I don't know, a funny clown on it or something. But it's not just about buying that thing. It's about the experiences that come with it. So what are you going to do with that pen? Are you going to write a letter to your best mate who lives in Australia? Are you going to write a note to your kids in their lunchbox? So it's experience to come with it. So that was what I bought into, and I still fully believe, and that is still the ethos.
Yeah, I love that.
With the journey that the business went on and is still going on, very, very aware of, lots of things weren't made as ethically as they could have been. But in the time that I was there, things were massively shifting, and doing a lot of work behind the scenes to be as eco and sustainable as possible. And exactly, I completely agree with you, Cal. It's like I am not an eco warrior. I feel like personally, I can't be that 100% all the time, but I will do everything in my power to do what I can do. So, like now I hardly print anything, the basics and the small things that I can do, everything that I do with my clients is 99% online, and I'll use shared things. Okay, I will send them a little present in the post, I like that. And I like the fact that if I'm working with somebody, you'll get something from me.
Yeah.
That's a nice touch, but I get what you're saying about the whole, the plastic, but things have changed massively since back in the day.
Yeah.
So I think it's, for me, it was all about focusing on the stuff you can do with it. So if you went and bought
I love that.
a football, it was like not just buying a football, it's going to the park with your mates and having that experience, having a really good time with that football.
Yeah.
And that's what I like to think of with anything I buy now.
Yeah, great. And I love that.
Yeah.
And you gave, you kind of lifted that for me. And I knew what I did. So I was going to start with that question when I said about the congruency bit. So I was like, were there any areas when you were growing Flying Tiger, because it was somebody else's business brand ethos, and then it was you and Kate. So were there any incongruencies that kind of, like an incongruency, you can either speak about it and resolve it, or it can niggle. And I was just interested if there was any of that.
In all honesty, not really. I think the Danes, as we spoke about at the beginning, are very to the point. So if there was ever any problems or anything that we didn't agree with, it was full. You're fully allowed to be as congruent as you wanted. You would be able to say, I don't trust it. And actually, this is something that I brought in, and Kate didn't actually agree with me. So this is where business partners, you have these conversations. I stopped bringing in all straws. So I said to all my staff, I was like, stop in bringing in single-use straws. And they were like, but they're our best sellers. I was like, I don't care. So like from their point of view, they were initially thinking, hang on, I'm losing money because they're some of our best sellers.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't feel comfortable having single-use straws being brought into the store. So I banned them from being brought in.
Perfect example.
And actually, for me, that was a small start. Did it matter? Absolutely not. People still want to go and buy straws. They can go and get them somewhere else.
Yeah.
We brought in, different straws, metal straws. It was when things were starting to shift. So yeah, that's an example that if I could do something personally to make things feel better for me as well as the business, then that's what I did.
Yeah, definitely. And I kind of want to summarize that bit. Like I'm definitely not an eco warrior, and I don't have massive views on that. I have things that I really want to talk about and I stand by. It was just interest in that bit. I'd love to like switch it up a little bit and ask some questions around like your experiences with team. So you grew, I don't remember the exact number, but you grew how many?
About 250 employees, give or take. Yeah,
like 12. Was it 12 stores, Helen?
We had 9 stores.
9 stores, yeah.
9 stores, yeah. 9 stores.
So in terms of an organisation, so for our founders, they tend to fall into like CEO or COO types. Like where would you describe like your style and like where you really like reign in an organisation? Like what are your real strong areas?
Yeah, so I'm very much that. I'm very different now to what I was then, and it comes back to having that experience that I've got now to what I was then.
Yeah.
But everyone, and weirdly enough, I've still got quite a few clients that used to work for me.
Okay.
In stores, and they've gone on to start their businesses, and they've come with me on a journey. So I'm their coach, and that's huge for me to still feel that they trust me and believe me and wanted to step out of being in that space to go on their own journey. So in terms of what I was like then, I would hope that my staff would think I was very much fair and I believed in that business, and I was probably the go-to person. So out of Kate and I was the one everyone went to.
Okay.
So I would be the question. I would be that director that was very hands-on. I loved being in the stores. I loved still being part of the team, and it was really important for me. I knew pretty much, I'd say, about 80% of the staff. People come and go and you don't get to meet them. It's natural, isn't it, retail? I knew everyone. I knew their name. I knew their family. I knew, what they loved. And I'm still friends with quite a lot of those people that became really important to me. Would I do things differently in certain elements? Yes, I would. I would do a lot more. I'd probably do a lot more training with them.
That's good.
Yeah. So, I hope that answers the question. Like we talk about teams.
Why do you say training?
Days.
Yeah, I was going to say that. Why would you do a lot more training?
I think to understand them more and the way they work. So there's something now that I work with in my clients now that I understand how they communicate. And I think communication, as I've mentioned before, is really important. So I'm a real visual person. So for me, I like to see things visual. If someone sends me a load of text or a load of writing, like second paragraph, you've lost me. I'm just not interested. And I think, so from a training perspective, really understand how my teams receive and can give out communication, I think would be one of the things I'd go back to. And I think it's really, really important to understand them a little bit more rather than just thinking I understood them.
Yeah.
So to get the best out of them.
Insight.
To get the best out of them. Yeah. And, neurodiverse, that kind of side of things, we never really got into at all back then. We just didn't. Yeah. Dyslexia I did because my husband's dyslexic, so I knew a little bit about it. So when they were struggling with, writing or, words in that sense, I would support them in that way. But I think, something that I would do differently would be, the training on really understanding them and to get the best out of them as a person, not just what I thought I knew about them.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
And you can hear the reflection and that depth. And I think that's the thing, isn't it? When you have the early experiences and then now, and then you get to put it in place. Just that understanding of people and what they need.
Definitely. Yeah,
because we spend a lot of time on understanding our customers and clients, don't we?
Yeah.
And all that money.
It's
and
so much time.
A lot of consultancy and very expensive stuff and and then there's a lot of value in the engine of the business is the people.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. And it's always been, though, I think that the biggest part, aside from the joy enjoyment that I had, was the people that were involved. And we did do a lot of nurturing with our staff, and a lot of people stayed with us right until the end. I've got one friend who's still working in the first store that we opened, and she'll never leave. She's an incredible woman, and she still lives and breathes the brand.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Should we do some of our quick fire questions?
Yeah. Okay. Go on. You go first. You had some.
What's one rule of business you have joyfully broken and you would break again?
Oh God! One rule of business that I have joyfully broken and would break again. Oh my gosh, that's really tough. What have I broken and would break again? I think it's not a rule because I think it's important, but I speak my mind. Yeah. I think and I would happily speak my mind and say what I've got to say over and over again.
Yeah.
Than not be heard. I think being heard and being seen and being valued is something that I like to do, and I would continue to put my big mouth in something
joyfully
if it's going to get us heard.
Joyfully. Love that. Joyfully. All of you.
I think one of the vibes we got from you, and it might be because of a recent post you made, but I do get the impression that how did I frame it? The job's not over yet. You're not finished yet. There's more to do. I just feel there's something bigger that you're looking for. I'm not sure, but this may play into this question, which is this. If your business disappeared tomorrow, what you're currently doing now, what would you build next?
A wellbeing centre. I really want to build a wellbeing centre. And what I mean by wellbeing centre is, so where I live now in Swansea, I'm a Cardiff girl, but I've moved to Swansea. So there's an area that I would love to have a space that can bring everyone together to support people, to have the confidence, to have the visibility, to have the focus, the clarity that they need, or they deserve to build themselves in business, in life, whatever element. So I'm also a qualified hypnotherapist. So I would have lots of different spaces for coaching, hypnotherapy, all the holistic practices that I feel that are really important to be able to build. And that would be in a most beautiful space overlooking the sea. So watch this space, ladies.
We are.
We are.
Let us know.
We were very good. We were like, love
I'm
that.
in.
Thank you for sharing that. That felt, very heartfelt. Okay, next question. If you could write a Post-it note to every woman scaling her business, what would it say?
Do it your way.
God, these are luscious. That's a luscious question, that one.
Oh, it just literally fills.
We're asking everybody that question.
Yeah.
And
really
honestly, we're going to put
I'm really visual as well.
Yeah,
I mean, we're looking at loads of, we've got our own questions, which is really nice in the blend. And then we're and what do we always want to be able to, little mashups of things, 10 women at a time, actually sharing that. And I just literally saw this giant Post-it in my head. I was like, it's got to be that. I can see billboards everywhere. I'd love to ask about She Thrives. So how I was connected magically to you was through a beautiful mutual contact who was already benefiting so much. She was one of my employees years ago, and then I've been a silent little quiet WhatsApp mentor to her over the years, and she's just like most of the women I'm always around, like so full of potential, brimming with ideas, channel it towards an organization that she cares about. But I'm like, oh, like she could be doing her own stuff, more. Right? So tell us about She Thrives. And just like what's going on? What are you noticing already?
Okay, so She Thrives. We're 6 months in, so we're still an early stage. But Crystal and I, as you mentioned, I do some contract work supporting startups and growth and that for a social enterprise and work with local governments. Yeah. And Crystal took some redundancy on, she was 20 years in marketing, took redundancy while on maternity leave. And she was starting her business and going through some funding. And a colleague of mine said, Hal, I would really like it if you've got some time to meet up with Crystal. I think you'd really get on. I was like, yeah, okay. Anyway, very long story short, we met that week, I think it was, in a local cafe. She brought a little daughter with us who was 12 months, 15 months, something like that at the time. And we were talking away, she's in the coaching space. And we both kind of said, I'd love a place where people could come, that they felt comfortable, they felt empowered, and they felt, I'm not a massive fan of the word safe, but in a place that they felt comfortable. And I said, I'm looking to start a network. And so because I moved to Swansea, couldn't find something that really resonated with me. I'm not a grey suit business card kind of person. It's not me. So I thought, true entrepreneur, I'm going to create it. And she was like, that's something that's in my strategy as well. And we were just like, should we do it together? Yeah. So we did. Started in October last year. And we've had such an amazing response. And every month, really, really proud that people give us their time and come and spend time with us and show up for themselves. Yeah. And it's so interesting because I would say it's about 60% of people that already have a business or side hustle or looking to grow that come. But there's that other percentage that have come either because they want to have that connection and have that community and learn, or have worked with somebody and now have gone, actually, because I've been so inspired, have decided to start something. And you mentioned Rach there. So in the last event we had, which was last week, she said at the end that actually she is looking to do she's going to start two little things for her that could lead into business. Yeah. And we were just like, it's incredible to see people come because they want to come for the connections, but actually leave thinking, I can do this. I can do this. I can do it. Yeah. So She Thrives, that's where we're at. So we've launched Swansea. We're actually launching in Cardiff in June. So we're taking the business model to Cardiff. And then eventually, the end of the year, we are having a big event, so our first big day event, leading on to retreats. And the plan is to start memberships. Yeah. So brilliant. Yeah. So good. It's amazing. And you can tell how passionate I am. This is what I feel like this is where I'm meant to be right now. So yeah. And it looks phenomenal. I was going to try and get to Swansea, but I will definitely be at the Cardiff one, running around. I'd love to have you. Well, love to have you.
Totally selfishly, I want to dig a bit more into this, if I may, because we are setting up an online community, and I suspect there are, just for our particular niche of listener and who we work with. And I love these, I call them curated groups that are there for, you're almost like finding your tribe, like, and then having them mirror back to you or give you advice or whatever. What do you say? What are the things that you're putting together and you're kind of going, yeah, that works? What are you doubling down on? And what are you going, no, I don't want any of that, and sort of pushing that to the side? Great question. What are you finding? Like, what advice could you give us to sort of consider this, or don't do that? Or
I think it's Do you know what's a really good question? Because we're still in that finding out kind of stage, in all honesty, because it's only 6 months.
You're slightly ahead of us, so this is good.
Yeah, we are, yeah. And we're doing this, alongside our both businesses that we run as well. So what I would say is really focus on the core outcomes that you want from it.
Yeah.
So is it that you want to support people to have beautiful destinations, I will say it, so like a beautiful outcome? What is it that you're really trying to get the outcomes for the people that will be in your community? And I think for us, we've been kind of finding our feet, and naturally it's just kind of led into the thriving. We want people to be able to thrive, and I think that for us has been the core. So really focusing on what the core element is of it. And I think we are we're not winging it, because that's the wrong thing to say, but I think because we are still early on, even though we're a little bit ahead, we're still testing. So if you ask me another 6 months, I'd probably give you more of a better answer. But I would say,
further ahead.
Yes. I think, just test what works and what doesn't. That's the beauty of it, isn't it? You can test and see what works. Can
I push in a little bit though? Because I think that when you said like, what are you like, saying no to, what are you keeping out? Like we've been going through a process of won't do, can't do, don't do, because we both come from very different backgrounds. We both have our own experiences. I can fall in love with people and startups, but my boundaries are no startups, because I'll just lose myself in someone else's startup, right? So we've been sharing those experiences. But I think with what you said about, or what I heard you say throughout our conversation about, don't want that jargon, I don't think we need that, that's not helpful. I hear that you have a really clear vision for what would be practically useful for a woman who is exploring and exploring her innovative ideas, her empowerment. Like it's just so, it's such a bubble, isn't it, for a woman? Like it's not linear. It's not like, oh, that and then that. It's just all here. Yeah. It's like you spoke about our mutual contact. Like it's those two things, not one. Like they just popped out. So what have you and your co-founder decided like won't come into She Thrives? Like it won't be like this. It won't be like that.
It definitely won't be corporate.
Yep.
And for me, I mean corporate in the way that there are other networking businesses out there that are very corporate, and I'm not going to name them, but it's not going to be and it's not a sales space.
Yes.
Okay. I'm not going to say come to our event and you've got to sell. That's that, and that isn't for us as well. So I think it's very much we're taking away. And I know you're women who, I'm looking at your screen, women who lead and sell. Yeah. That is important, but it's not in a, how can I say this in the right way? It's not in a corporate sales space. That's not the vibe we're going for. Absolutely. So I think if you come, and one of our things is literally no business cards. We don't want you to come and feel that you have to have a business card. We are going down the route of it being a real communication space that isn't about how you should be. It's about how you want to be. Yeah. And I think one of my things, and Crystal also is about let's avoid those shoulds and actually follow your wants. And if you follow your wants, then you're welcome in our space. If you keep following the shoulds that's out there, you should be doing this, then it's not something that sits with us. Yeah. So I
love that. Thank you. And I'm really glad I went in again to ask, because there's so like we create these things and they're out there, but there's only so much you can say with messaging until you get in the room. Absolutely. And I'm sure that is what I'll experience when I'm there. But it's really lovely to know, and for us to be able to amplify that message, like even what you just said there, like what you want and if you're welcome in this space. And I'd love to like say back to you, so in terms of women who lead and sell, I think this is a lovely kind of bridge. Like it is scary when you get to that world where you are pitching to corporates for £500,000 worth of business, and that's going to make a big difference to your, or you're trying to get investment. I also had 150,000 investment when I first started. I've fallen back in love with selling. I think that's the first time I've said it out loud.
Yeah.
I've actually fallen back in love with selling after really just being disenfranchised with it. Like, I'm like, excuse me, this is fucking shit. Like, no, I'm not having it. It's making people ill. Like, I was never a top closer or a top converter. I literally sold through partnerships, engagement, relationships. It was like wildfire. It was like, oh, it's the Kelly effect. It's everywhere. There was no sales system. You just like, everyone was just like being clear with one another, and you're either a yes or a no. Let's, But women who lead. So it's like women who lead. Like, when you're coming into, like, you think about women coming to She Thrives, or even for ourselves, when we're coming into ourselves, we're coming into lead, right? We need to speak up. Yeah. And we've formed a concept or a product or a service. And then, you're kind of finding your track with that. And then you come to, and now it's time to sell it. And we really want to break that down so we can deconstruct what you have been taught, and we can help you reassemble in your own way, like hear all the synergy here, in your own way, the way you want to do it. And there are multiple creative ways to do it.
100%.
Like, you can build sounding boards, you can have focused coffee mornings, you can have a right laugh, you can literally get 10 of your clients in a room, say you can book to take cake and coffee on because you're all going to have a lush natter, and you can whiteboard their solutions and go, all right, her over there, she can sort that out. She's your accountant. Do you want to buy? No. Yes or no? That I'm like, let's just explode the whole thing and show the world how we actually do it through brilliant, beautiful, expansive creativity. And it's taken me, like Helen, from leaving the business to now and finding the right partners and the right women. It's enabled me to go, I really give a shit about this. I really give a shit about women, like walking up and down city centres going, here's my flyer, come and see us. Like, I want them to be shameless self-promoters.
Oh God,
jeez,
100%,
I'm like, come on. Like,
100%. That's something someone said to me once as well, is who's going to hear your talents if you're whispering? Let's start shouting out about it, shall we? Let's be as loud as we can. And in a selling that works for you, right? Because, people get fearful about the word selling or sales. But actually, if you're being true to yourself, and it'll just come naturally. It'll come naturally. I love what you just said.
No, and when you said it, I could feel like it feels like such a bouncy conversation. Like, I've been listening and thinking about your story, but I'm like, no, like, this is being with other women and hearing their clear visions, and like you were like, just what is the outcome? What are you aiming towards? It causes you, it's like a recalibration in your system. Like, some of our messaging, we've had to go back and forth and we're testing it and we're seeing what products actually do deliver. But then when you're in these conversations, I mean, they're literally like, they're masterminds, aren't they, all the time? Like, this is a mini mastermind for me. I'm like, hear what she said, see how she applied that. And that's that like insane curiosity that I bring, that I'm like, I'm like, you just spread that. Like, and this is free, right? This will go out and this gets amplified around the world. And any woman, even if they've just got their children, they're looking after their mum who's ill, they're able to listen, and that goes in. Like, if ever, like, every time I watch a woman who's in, like, rising and coming into her power, she's been like listening, and she's been collecting and collating and curating for years. And then she pops and you're like, and watch her go. It's like, watch her go now. It's the biggest privilege of my life to just watch women
it is
really come into themselves.
Yeah,
it's great what you two just said, all of the world that you created there, actually, because, and it comes back to a lot of what you said at the beginning and the themes of what you've been saying, Helen, around create your, surround yourself with the right people for the right timing, surround yourself with the support, surround yourself with the people that are speaking the same language. It's what you're both basically saying is, women, this isn't about reinventing business. This is about creating the stage that you want to perform on in terms of your business. If that stage is your business, then create it in your vision, and then find some more people who go, oh yeah, I like that. I'd quite like to watch that. And be creative about how you find that support. And it could be start your own group, or do the mini coffee morning with people, and just to get that immediate feedback. But there's definitely this whole power of collaboration and communication that we can definitely all tap into, and probably don't tap into enough, actually.
No,
there's an opportunity.
Definitely. Yeah, there definitely is. And you're so right there. I think the power of collaboration is huge. And a lot of people think that if you're in that space, you have to agree with those people, but actually you don't, because then that sparks your own thoughts, your own interests, your own route, your own, path, your own journey, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And you take what you need from it as well. I'm not saying you have to listen to everyone's advice. You take what you need from it and what feels good for you. Yeah. Yeah. I'm so excited to be involved and watch your journey grow as well. It's you're doing incredible things.
Thank you so much.
There is a question around so you have a co-founder now, and you had one with Kate, Crystal and Kate.
Yeah.
Would you say that's like a strategy of yours? Like you really no?
Absolutely not. No, it's
happens.
One of those things that just happens. Yeah. And Kate and I were very, very different people. But we had the same goal, the end goal, so it worked in that way. Crystal and I are very similar, still got the same end goal, very, very similar. No, it's not been something that I actually love being on my own. I love my own space. Like I actually, I'm quite creative when I'm on my own. And I know that it's important though for me to have somebody that I have got a bit of accountability, that can bounce off ideas as well. So it's not been something that I've thought that I have to have. It's just happened, and it's worked. So I'm always very much go with the flow, and whatever happens will happen.
That's super interesting. Yeah, I thought because of the co-founder thing, I didn't realize, and it certainly wasn't a strategy of mine, but every time I've done really well, I do well on my own, but I don't have the explosive breakthroughs unless I'm with, it can be like a brilliant online business manager, and then it's off. There's always a dual thing, and it's a specific connection with a woman that is just I know this is going to be amazing. It's going to be breakthrough results. So super, super interesting.
So final question, where can people find you?
So I spend most of my time on Instagram stories, so you can hang out with me there. LinkedIn is my other major platform. I in person if you're in Wales, or if you want to have a virtual coffee. I love that as well. I've got a lot of clients all over the world, so if someone wants to just jump on and have a virtual coffee, then I'm happy for that as well. So my name is quite long. My maiden name was Corsi, my married name is Cadmore, so I refuse to let go of my Italian surname. So Helen Corsi-Cadmore, you'll find me. If you just plug that in anywhere, I'll be there somewhere. So,
we'll have you in the show notes anyway.
Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, Helen.
So much.
Thank you both so much.
It's been a journey.
I've really enjoyed it. Thank you both.